Greetings folks, this review is all about this awesome Aomway HD588 10-inch FPV screen. This is a very versatile screen. It's been around for at least a couple of years, but this is the first time I've seen it. I don't have a good record with FPV screens. I've had two of them and I've destroyed both of them by dropping them or trying to do stuff that I shouldn't have done. So I'm going to take special care with this one. It came from Banggood for the review, so thanks very much Banggood. It comes very nicely packed in the box. I've already unpacked it and it was so well packed I couldn't get it back in as neat as it came, so it's a bit of a pity. Now, first thing, it has a little tripod socket on the bottom, but I would really recommend using a very good quality tripod with this because you wouldn't want it blowing over in the wind like I have with previous screens, and it has a little bit of weight to it, but it's not too heavy. You could almost have that mounted on your transmitter as long as you had it reasonably balanced. Let's go through some of the specs. 10.1 inch diagonal, no blue screen, 1920 by 1200 pixels, 700:1 contrast ratio, 40 channel 5.8 gigahertz, diversity receivers. I'll show you what it comes with in a minute. It has a 2-watt loudspeaker, comes with a 2400 milliamp hour LiPo battery, has DVR built in, comes with English and Chinese language, and it was on the Chinese language, so I had to fiddle around a bit to work out how to get the language to English so I could understand it. 16:9 and 4:3 aspect ratio swappable. Has video in and video out. As I said, it's got the battery built in, but you can also power it externally. 8 volts to 26 volt DC input. It has HDMI In 1080p. You can plug in a USB drive and play videos and look at photos and things like that. Very versatile screen. When I showed my work colleagues, I work in the photography department, the first thing they said was, oh, I wonder if we can plug it in and use it as a monitor for our video cameras from the SLR, and I'm sure you can. But let's have a look at some of the ways we can plug things in. First of all, I'll show you what else we get in the box. So you get a charger, standard wall wart sort of thing. We've got an Australian adapter there. Composite video in, composite video out. You get 2 antennas. You get one of these lovely Aomway patch antennas and a rubber ducky antenna. They work fine. A bit of an instruction manual as well. And that's about it in the box. So let's put these antennas on. Although this is designed as an FPV monitor, and I'm sure it's a very good one, most use for me is going to come as for connecting up cameras and checking out menus and things like that. It's just such a good screen. Alright, so let's have a look at the external, starting from the top. This is a little sort of a rocker and push dial for the DVR. There's the little SD card slot up to 64 gigabytes, I think it is. HDMI in, USB in. And we've got all the buttons along the bottom here: mode, menu, band, channel, search, power, and a little toggle switch here for the multimedia player. On this side we have DC out, so you can power another receiver or goggles from here. DC in, composite AV in, therefore it's audio out for earphones, and that's composite AV out. And on the back here is the battery. Nice big flat battery there. What is it? It's a 3S2300. As I said, you can also power this with an external battery, which is probably a good idea. Because it's a big screen, you might only get about an hour's worth out of that battery, so it's always good to have a spare. Takes a barrel style connector, what is it, 5.5mm or whatever. Positive in the center, ground on the outside if you're making one up. It doesn't come with this cable as far as I know, or mine didn't, so I've made up my own cable here. Plug that into DC in, and you can see it's powering it up here. And we can turn it on. Here we go. Takes a few seconds to come on, and it's gone straight into the AV menu. I'll show you this a bit better once we get things set up. That's the FPV screen there. Alright, so I'll show you some of the on-screen stuff here. So we've got the mode button here. We can switch between FPV mode, that's Dvr mode, AV In, HDMI, and this one is the media player. There we go. If we had the USB plugged in, I'll show you examples of all of this very soon. Back to the FPV feed. Menu, we can change all of these things down here. We've got brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness, color temperature, backlight, volume. We do have speakers. Change the aspect ratio, zoom in and out, point to point, I don't even know what that is, freeze, horizontal and vertical mirroring. The menu does go off after 15 seconds, which is a bit annoying. You can change that time, but you can't go any longer than 15 seconds. Menu, here we go again. On-screen display from English to Chinese. So if yours comes preset to Chinese, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line up, and you just have to English language. There it is there. So 5th line up. If you just push the plus button when you're on there, you'll get to the English menu. On-screen display duration there. Now so you can go off. I wonder if that keeps it on all the time. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, off. I'll leave it on off and see what that does. You can set a shutdown time, that'll be a low activity, buzzer, reset and software update, I'd say that is. Alright, let's get some FPV going. I have a little FPV feed here. I'll just plug that in and see what we come up with. Now it's off channel at the moment, so I'll do a search, push and hold. There it's searching. Band D, band E, band A1. There we go. It's found it. That's cool. Alright, so if we change to Dvr mode, that's the Dvr mode. If you push the side button there, it will start recording, and you can see the little red flashing light there. You also get a little red LED on the side here to show that it's recording. So you know it's recording even if you're not in the DVR screen. So to bring up the DVR menu, push and hold. And it's pretty basic DVR. It doesn't have much choice. English language, playback, that's pretty much all there is. It only records in, I think it's D1 aspect ratio. I'd really like it if it had 16:9 D1 and 4:3 aspect ratio choices, but does the job. So now I'll show you some of the different sorts of inputs we can have. We can have USB, we can have HDMI. You need for a camera you need a micro to mini cable, very, very rare, so I've had to use this adapter. AV In with the Git Up and the Mobius, two different sorts of inputs. First of all, I've got some photos and video on my USB here, so I'll plug that in. Switch through to AV mode. Switch through to the media player. There's the media player. So we've got some photos, so I'll just have a look at some of them. You click which one you want to look at, then go down to play them. Oh, look at that, that is beautiful. This is a lovely, lovely screen. Gorgeous. So we have volume controls as well, if we actually had volume. It's playing through by itself. Go to some movies. So this is the trailer for my channel. Turn the volume up a little bit. That is just a stunning screen. Magic. This one is some onboard views from a Radian from a couple of years ago. Absolutely beautiful. You could watch movies on this thing if you had them on the USB. Very, very useful. Alright, so what do we try next? Let's try some AV In. So now I've got my git up here using the AV In cable. I have the git up AV out cable. You have to get the right one for the git up because it's different to the Mobius. They're not compatible with each other. I've had to use this extra cable to connect up. It's connected to the AV In now. Now turn it on. And there we have beautiful 16:9 aspect ratio AV In. All the details from the git up as well. Of course you can do all the setup as well. Very cool indeed. Now I'll swap to the Mobius, so I just need to disconnect that one. Got the Mobius cable here, turn it on. Same again, I don't have an SD card in the Mobius, so it's giving me that please insert SD card. You can see with the Mobius, it depends on which camera you're using, how it outputs the video. The Mobius sort of puts it out to full screen, so we don't get the black bars in the top and bottom, and it's actually a little bit stretched. But it's reasonably close to correct aspect ratio. Take the AV In out, and let's do some HDMI now. Change the mode to HDMI. There we go. Now I've got this dodgy method of plugging it in. It's just an adapter. If you can find a cable that goes from micro to mini, then you're laughing, but they're a bit hard to find. So I'm just going to plug this in with my adapter. Turn that around a little bit so I can see what we're doing. Turn it on. There we get the HDMI image from the camera going straight onto the screen. So that's giving spectacular quality, slightly stretched vertically HDMI output. Looks absolutely beautiful. And back to the FPV feed. Oops, let's turn that volume down a bit. There we go. A very, very useful screen. How's it going to be outside for FPV? I'll have to try that a bit later on. Probably could do with a sunshade, I imagine. It came with a plastic film over the screen, which I thought was just protection, so I peeled it off and threw it away. But now that is actually an anti-glare covering, I believe, according to one of my YouTube contacts, English Turbines, who has a lot of good advice about FPV, does some really, really good quality FPV videos. I've thrown that away, so that's too bad. I probably can buy another anti-glare cover, like one for an iPad or something like that, but we'll see about that. We'll see how it works outside. To be honest, I'm probably not going to use this for FPV all that much, even though it'll be very capable, I'm sure. I'm going to be using it for reviews and camera setup and stuff like that. Anyway, it's an absolutely awesome 10-inch screen, the Aomway 10.1-inch screen from Banggood, and eventually I'll take it outside and I'll show you some FPV out in the wild. Thanks for watching.